Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Operation Arsenal. Today is not a match review. Instead, it's 24 hours after Wenger announced that he is stepping down at the end of the season. And I wanted to give you guys my proper thoughts now that I've been able to digest that information. Yesterday, I found out while I was out. I recorded a little bit of a clip while I was at the stables, just giving my initial reactions, I guess. But today I want to talk about what's next. Where do we go from the end of this season? We'll talk about the end of this season as well and what I'm expecting to see, what I hope to see. But really, I want to talk about the manager. You know, what manager are we going to go for? What options are there? I also want to talk a little bit about personnel, you know, which kind of players we need to bring in. And just have a chat, really. So it could be quite a long video, so strap yourselves in. It's going to get interesting. Not very exciting, though, I'm not going to lie. It's just a chit-chat, okay? This is what Operation Arsenal is all about, just my thoughts on things. So hopefully you're looking forward to the video. So where do we start? 24 hours ago, it was announced, well, over 24 hours ago. Apparently Wenger is treating it like nothing's happened. He's taking training as usual. They're getting ready for the next game, which is tomorrow. And everything is just the way it was, which is great to hear. The last thing you want to do is interrupt the season, right? We're still in the process of going through a very, very tough period. A lot of hard fixtures coming up, including the West Ham game tomorrow. We've got Atletico Madrid, we've got Manchester United, we've got Burnley, which, yeah, is an absolutely crucial game for us. So the last thing we needed was a big interruption to all of the preparations we're making. So it's good that that's happening. And I think that Wenger, even though he probably didn't want to step down, and he's almost been forced into it by, you know, players being unhappy in the changing room, the Emirates being half empty every game, but he will treat this situation with respect. He knows he's still got a job to do, and that's something that I will really miss about Arsene Wenger. That he's a true professional, always puts the club first in some ways, and it's good that we've still got a professional in charge that will get this season done. So, yeah, hopefully we pick up the 3 points against West Ham, because that is one of his last home games at the Emirates. Of course, the last one will be against Burnley, I think it will be. So we want to send him off on a high, and let's hope that loads of people, you know, are cheering his name. And I'm sure it's going to be a special atmosphere, that's for sure, tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. So if we can pick up that win, and of course, you know, now I'm going to talk about how I want this season to end before he actually steps down. It's 3 games, the way I'm seeing this. The Premier League is pretty irrelevant at this point, because no matter what happens, we're either going to get 6th or 7th. The difference there is Europa League or no Europa League. And to be fair, I'd rather finish 7th if that means we can qualify for the Champions League by winning the Europa League, which of course means, you know, using a weaker team in the Premier League. But to be fair, I would rather take 7th over 6th. Even if we don't get into the Champions League, I would rather have a season without any European football next season, because it's going to be tough. It's going to be a massive change. There's going to be a lot going on behind the scenes over the next few years at Arsenal as we adjust. Having Europa League it's not ideal. It's not a competition that many big clubs seem to care about these days. I mean, some people may have different opinions, but everyone wants the Champions League, right? So if we're going through this transition phase with a new manager, and we've got this silly congestion of games all the time, it's something I'd rather not have. That's just my personal opinion. I don't enjoy Thursday night football. It's not where we should be. So if we can finish in 6th and win the Europa League, that's the perfect situation. But I would rather go 7th and let Burnley have a chance in Europe. That would be incredible to see. And let us have a season away from Europe. Chelsea had it. It seemed to really help them. So you may think I'm being a bit of a plastic fan or just having a bit of a silly opinion on that. But honestly, I feel like we would benefit from a season away from European football. But of course, if we're in the Champions League, that's a different story. That's not just playing in Europe. That's where we need to be and where we haven't been for quite some time now. 2 years in a row, we're not going to qualify for the Champions League from Premier League positions, which is just not good enough. So it's 3 games. It really is. 2 semi-finals, and should we win that, the final of the Europa League. 3 games to send our legendary manager out on a high. If we can win those 3 games, I don't care what happens in the Premier League. We could lose 10-0 to West Ham tomorrow. We could get beaten by Burnley 16-0. I don't care. It's 3 games. 3 matches. Arsene Wenger has managed way more than 3 matches. It's just 3 more. 3 more wins. That is all we need to really send him off on a high. And you know what? I've seen a lot of other fans, especially on social media like Twitter, people saying, oh, look at all the Arsenal fans now changing their tune. You know, oh, Arsene Wenger out, he's the worst manager of all time. And now all of a sudden he's a legendary manager. You know, he's the best. Let's just think about this for a second. We've still had this guy for 22 years at the club. I haven't known anything else. I'm 25 years old, so he joined when I was 3. I have not known anything else. We are well within our right to be upset at the state of the club over the last 5-6 years. And we're well within our right to then celebrate the man himself who did so well for the majority of that tenure. We are allowed to have that moment where, now that he's leaving, we can change our tune. We can be happy and celebrate. Not the fact that he's leaving, even though most people will be happy that he's leaving. We're also celebrating the memories, the great memories we've had. There have been a lot of bad memories recently, but don't forget, the first 15 years or so were unbelievable. So for those of you out there that are saying Arsenal fans are such hypocrites, put yourself in our position. You've celebrated many, many years of success at a club. Your team has been winning everything except from European competitions. But then suddenly results go downhill. You know, we go through a terrible phase of not winning anything. The manager is clearly clinging on to his life here because he absolutely loves the club. It's all he wants to do in his life. He can't move on. That there was just nothingness. It was stagnant for so long. And then when we finally get the news that he is leaving, of course people are going to start saying things like, well, he has been a legend. You know, he's been a great manager for us. Shame about the last few years. That's just my 2 cents on that anyway. So, I've got something in my eye. It's driving me mad. My hay fever right now is on another level. I'm going to have to go and scratch it. Oh, think I got it? Oh, that's so much better. Anyway, 3 games to finish the season on a high. Just 3 games. Okay, let's say we win those 3 games in the Europa League. We win the Europa League. We're into the Champions League next season. Fantastic, right? Now let's imagine that we don't win the Europa League and somehow we finish in 7th place. Or we finish in 6th. But next year we don't have the Champions League. Does that have an impact on who we can recruit manager-wise? I don't think so. But it does have a huge effect on the players that we can sign. So this is the dilemma. That's why these 3 games are so huge. If we make it into the Champions League, I think realistically, you know, if we've got the money, which I'm sure we do, we can go out and get some world-class talents this summer. You know, a lot of players that would be looking to join the Premier League and to join a team that is a huge club like Arsenal that are going through a transitional phase, getting a new manager, starting fresh. You know, that is a huge opportunity for some players. But if we don't get the Champions League, there's a lot of players that will just simply go somewhere else. Why would they join Arsenal? They're going to be in a difficult phase, changing managers. You know, it's quite possible that our next manager may not do well. He gets sacked within 6 months. We could become one of those clubs that sacks our managers every 6 months. You just don't know. I think it's unlikely, but why would a player risk that if there's no reward, at least by being in the Champions League, you know? So I think it's vital in terms of bringing in players that we get the Champions League qualification. We have to win those 3 games in the Europa League. We just have to. But in terms of the manager, I've got a little list of managers that I personally want to join and just general managers that have been touted almost. I think that it doesn't matter as much. I think that regardless of whether we're in the Champions League or not, managers are still going to see the same job, aren't they? They're going to see Arsenal struggled over the years to compete in the Premier League. It's a huge challenge with or without European football. I don't think it matters as much. I'm sure some managers would rather we were in the Champions League because, of course, why not? They have the potential to earn more money with bonuses, whatever it may be. So let's go through the list of managers, and I think we can knock off a few because, well, I'm not a big fan of some of them. So at first position, these are kind of like it's like a priority. I think this is the order we should be looking at these managers, but you might have a different feeling. So first for me, which I think is extremely unlikely at this point, is Thomas Tuchel, the ex-Dortmund manager. He's been free of a job for a while, but apparently he has signed a deal with PSG. He will be managing them next season. So it seems unlikely at this point, but he is, for me, the number one target. I think he would bring exactly what we need in terms of play style. He's young, he's driven, he'll be up for the challenge. Why not? Thomas Tuchel had Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan at Dortmund, got them playing really well. I think that could be a key for us. I would love Thomas Tuchel, I really would, but it doesn't look great at the moment. Next on the list for me is I hate this name, Massimiliano Allegri. Just Allegri, much easier to say that. For me, he's got more experience than most managers that have been linked. He's dealt with high-pressured situations with the Champions League, with Juventus. He's, I think, a very balanced manager. You know, he's set up Juventus very well defensively, but also very well attacking as well. So I think he could do very well at Arsenal. I think he could be just the kind of man we need. So maybe Allegri is up there as well. Up next, we've got Luis Enrique, ex-Barcelona. I mean, if you've managed Barcelona, you know how to get a team playing football, and that's what Arsenal is known for. We've lost that recently, but Arsenal is about Wenger ball. Proper nice passing, tiki-taka style, you know? So I would love to bring in a manager that can do that. I think Thomas Tuchel, Allegri and Enrique could all do that very, very nicely. And I think Enrique, whilst, you know, it didn't work out at Barcelona for him, there was definitely signs of an incredible manager there. You don't manage Barcelona for nothing, right? So for me, he would be up there as well. Next, we've got Joachim Löw, the Germany manager. I think at the end of the World Cup, he might just step down, and he's been linked with Arsenal many, many times. And well, he's German. We've always had a lot of German talent at the club. Right now we've got Ozil. Mertesacker obviously retiring at the end of the season. But in the past we've had Podolski, Gnabry, so many Germans. And why not bring in a German manager? He's been one of the most successful international managers of all time. I would love to see him at Arsenal. I think he would slot in very well. The rest of these I'm not 100% sure on, so ignore the order they're coming in. But next we've got Brendan Rodgers, ex-Liverpool, currently at Celtic. Don't think he's quite the guy we're looking for, but what I love about Brendan Rodgers is I love the way he articulates himself in his interviews. He's a very respectful guy. He got the best out of Liverpool when they didn't have the strongest squad ever, let's be honest. And a lot of ex-players like Steven Gerrard, even Luis Suarez now says that he was a fantastic manager, but Gerrard absolutely loves Brendan Rodgers. He really does. So there must be a reason that Liverpool did so well back then, and I think Brendan Rodgers was a huge part of that. Getting Suarez and Sturridge playing the way they were, we could do with that, couldn't we? Next, we've got Leonardo Jardim. Am I saying that right? I'm probably not, but he's the Monaco manager. Monaco play lovely football. I think he could do a great job with Arsenal. Is he ready, though? I think he could be. I don't think that we're going to go for him, but he's definitely someone else on the list. And now we've got 3 ex-Arsenal players. We've got Mikel Arteta, Thierry Henry, and Patrick Vieira. 3 very, very good ex-Arsenal players. I mean, Mikel Arteta isn't quite, you know, the legend that we have with Thierry Henry and Patrick Vieira. But for me, out of those 3, Arteta has the promise of being a proper good manager. I think Mikel Arteta is a very intelligent guy. I really think he will become one of the greats in management. You know, he's under Pep Guardiola at the moment at Man City. He loves Arsenal. Why not give him a go? It could work out. If we're looking, we've got 2 different situations here, haven't we? We've got, let's go for a manager that's already qualified, already, you know, at a world-class club or recently was at one, and has all the experience. Or we go with someone that's young, passionate, has fire in the belly, first big job type thing. That's what we've got with Arteta, Henry and Vieira. Thierry Henry, I don't think so. He hasn't managed a club before. Sure, he works with the Belgium national team, but I think that's more just because he's a legend. Let's have Thierry Henry, but it won't go well. It just won't, will it? Unless I'm wrong, it might be amazing. He's a very clever guy as well. He knows Arsenal through and through. But just imagine if we went a couple of results, you know, maybe 6 losses in a row or something like that. It's just going to get toxic. I don't want to risk that. I think Thierry Henry would be better off getting another job somewhere else and coming back to Arsenal at some point. Patrick Vieira, I mean, he's already managing over in the MLS. I think he's probably got more qualifications than Arteta and Henry just because of that, but I don't think Patrick Vieira's ready for a big club like Arsenal. It's a big jump from the MLS to the Premier League, isn't it? So maybe, similar to Henry and Arteta, maybe they need to go off and get some other jobs and come back in the future. So, yeah, I think if I was to name 3 managers that I really want at Arsenal, it's Thomas Tuchel, it's Allegri, it's Luis Enrique. I think those 3. Of course, we've got Diego Simeone. I think he could do a pretty good job. Jardim, Rodgers. There's a few. There is actually quite a few, and there might be more that become available in the summer after the World Cup. So who knows? Now let's move on to the more exciting talk, and that is players. What kind of players do we need to bring into the club? Which signings do you think? Or yeah, what signings do we need to improve this squad? Which players do we need to sell as well? So I think one area that we really lack quality in at the moment is wide players. We've got a lot of great central attacking players. You think Ozil, Mkhitaryan, Ramsey, there's a lot, Wilshere. A lot of players that like to play more centrally. They can play on the wing a little bit. I know Ozil's been on the right, sometimes Mkhitaryan as well on the left, right. We've got Iwobi who could play as a winger, but I think we're lacking proper wingers. So I've listed 3 here that maybe could do a good job for us. Well, technically it's 2. Bailey from Leverkusen. He looks to be an absolutely incredible talent. So I would love to see him in an Arsenal shirt, which I don't think will happen. Malcolm from the French League, the Brazilian. I don't think that's going to happen either. If anything, he's going to be going to Bayern, it seems. I've also listed down Fekir, but he's actually more of a central player as well. But Fekir is a player that I would love at Arsenal. He's an Arsenal type player through and through. I'd love to see him there. Maybe as a future replacement for Ozil, something like that. One thing we definitely need as well is a centre defensive midfielder. I don't think Xhaka is a DM. He can play there, but he's not quick enough. He's not mobile enough. El Neni isn't good enough to play DM on his own. We need a proper brick house central defensive midfielder. So I've listed 3 here as well. Fabinho, would absolutely love him from Monaco. I think he would fit in very well, but why would he join Arsenal when he's going to have PSG, Madrid, Manchester United, Bayern all calling for him? Nzonzi, getting on in his career a little bit, but experienced. He's 6'5" or whatever. He's something that we've missed for a long time that would just shore up our midfield. I've also put Ndidi down from Leicester. I'm very impressed with Ndidi since he's joined Leicester. I think that he could be relatively cost effective as well for a player that would suit our play style. I really like him. He reminds me of Yaya Toure a lot, but a more defensive version. Of course, defensively, we look weak. We need 2 centre-backs, if you ask me. I've listed another 3 here. We've got Boateng from Bayern. Very expensive, but proven, World Cup winning, top German talent. Lenglet, he's obviously a little bit lesser known and less experienced, but he looks incredible for Sevilla. And I think he could be a great Koscielny replacement. I really do. And then we've also got Manolas, the hero from Roma, who got the team through against Barcelona, of course, with that header. We've been linked with Manolas every season for so long now. We almost signed him before Roma did. I think he's one of the best defenders in the world right now. Sign him up. Pay whatever they want, just get him. He would be brilliant for us. But most of all, goalkeeper. We need to let Petr Cech go, whether he retires or we let him go to another club, or we keep hold of him. He can be our 3rd string goalkeeper and maybe could work on the goalkeeping coaching staff. I don't know. He's still a great person to have at the club. He's not good enough to be our first team goalkeeper. And also, I don't think Ospina is either. He's a great goalkeeper, but we need to invest now in a proper goalkeeper that will stay with us for a long time. So 3 more here. Oblak. We've already been linked with him for the summer. It's going to cost us £100 million apparently to pay his release clause, or £95 million or whatever it is. Incredible amount of money, but with Oblak, you're signing one of the best goalkeepers in the world. We've also got Timo Horn. I think he would be very nice, very cheap signing for the quality that you're going to get. One of the best young goalkeepers in the Bundesliga, playing for a poor team. There's no doubt about it, so maybe we could prize him away. And also in the Bundesliga, Leno. I think Leno could be a very good choice for us as well. Now, a lot of people might just say I'm basing all of these off career mode or whatever, but genuinely, I'm not. These are all players that I think would be really good for us in real life. It's nothing to do with FIFA. Sure, I know the players well because of FIFA, but I've seen them play in real life, and there's many other options out there. But these, each 3 I've listed for each position, I think could all do a very good job for Arsenal. And one thing's in common. They're all pretty much already world class. There isn't any players there that are young that we would expect to become world beaters in the future. They're already at a very high level. The only 2, maybe I would say, that are a little bit young and still unproven are Ndidi and Lenglet. Maybe Bailey as well. Malcolm, we know how good he is. He's probably, I guess, a little bit young as well. But with Fekir and Zonzi, Fabinho, Manolas, Boateng, Leno, Horn, Oblak, you're looking at proper, established, world-class players. And that is what we need. So I think I'm done. I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. 20 minutes of talking about Arsenal. Let's recap it. 3 games, guys. 3 games. That's all we need for the rest of this season. Semi-final Leg 1, semi-final League 2, and then the final of the Europa League. That's it. Win those 3 games. Send Arsene Wenger off on a high. Bring in one of those managers I spoke about. They would be unbelievable for us. Bring in some of the players I mentioned as well. And let's start fresh. This is a very exciting time for Arsenal, but it's also a very daunting time. Very scary that we're going into a season next year with a new manager for the first time in 22 years. It's unheard of. It's absolutely enthralling, though. I cannot wait to see what happens. It's going to be a rough time in places, but it's also going to be a great time with a fresh feel. And I really hope it works out for us. And I wish Arsene Wenger the best of luck. I'm pretty sure he's going to stay in the football world, whether he gets another job, whether he takes a little bit of a break and manages an international team for the next World Cup, who knows. But I still love the guy for what he did for us. He revolutionised the Premier League, not just Arsenal, but the English Football League is different. It's different in so many better ways because of Arsene Wenger, and he deserves praise. He deserves to be honoured. It's just a shame that the last few years weren't great, was it? Big shame. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you click the bell notification icon thing as well so you stay notified when I upload a video, and I will see you next time.